This is a patch that I'm calling Underwater Engine Vibes in honor of the Corniche here in Abu Dhabi. I composed this patch while watching some motorboats driving by in the water outside in the Arabian Gulf. And the basic idea of this patch is that it is a generative patch that's self-triggering. So I've got the VCA over here in drone mode, so that allows the tone to play without having to press the keys. And then I'm using the modulation of the filter to allow the sound to get through. So I've got the single oscillator here playing, and let me just take out the, here we go. So I've got the envelope modulating the filter. So if I set that to 0, it's essentially taking out the influence of the envelope. And then what I did is I just set the filter here, which is in series mode, to basically cut off the sound. And so without opening up the filter some more, we don't really hear anything if I open it up. So this is the sort of static tone that it's playing because we're in drone mode. So I turn that down and basically cut that out. And now if I add in the envelope again, this is where I'm getting that arrhythmically triggering sound. So how am I triggering the envelope in that way? Basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the LFO here, and I'm taking the square out of that and using that to trigger the envelope. So if I were to remove this, now the envelope isn't being triggered, so we don't hear anything because the filter is closed. Plug that back in. Now when the LFO is running, it's triggering the envelope, which is opening the filter. And if I were just to let the LFO run by itself, it's running at a fixed rate, so it's a repetitive sound. So to modulate that, to change the rate of the LFO, I'm taking the output of the modulation section, here the wave out, of this sine waveform, and I'm using that to modulate the speed of the LFO. And to spice things up a little bit and to actually create a feedback loop, I'm using the triangle output of the LFO through this attenuator to kind of adjust the rate back into the rate in of the modulation sections. So basically what's happening is this modulation section is driving the speed of the LFO, which is driving the speed of the modulation section. And so that's why you get these sort of speed up, slow down, arrhythmic triggering. And I can use this attenuator here to play with the amount of influence that the LFO has over the modulation section. So you can play with the amount that the rate affects the rate, which affects the rate. You can see how it becomes kind of a chaotic system, which is nice because it doesn't really repeat. It has this sort of life of its own. And that's basically it. It just kind of keeps going by itself, which is nice.